Hi everyone, this is Mary Resenbeck, and this is Module 2. Legal regulations and documentation needed for homeschooling, and options like charter schools, private school affidavits, etc. When considering homeschooling, it's crucial to understand the legal requirements and documentation needed to ensure you're in compliance with your state's laws. While homeschooling is legal in all 50 states, the specific regulations can vary significantly from one state to another. Let's start with a fundamental fact: homeschooling is legal in all 50 states of the United States. This is important to remember as it establishes your basic right to educate your children at home. However, each state has its own set of rules and requirements that homeschooling families must follow. In the podcast, I discussed my experience in California. I mentioned that homeschooling laws in California are relatively liberal, offering several options for families. However, it's important to note that this may not be the case in all states, and you should research the specific laws in your area. One option is using charter schools for homeschooling. Charter schools are public schools that operate independently and often offer more flexible learning options. Some charter schools have homeschool programs that provide support and resources to homeschooling families. When you homeschool through a charter school, you typically get assigned a homeschool teacher who acts as a liaison between your family and the school district. This teacher usually meets with you once or twice a month, either online or in person, to review your child's progress and provide support. The requirements for charter school homeschooling can include submitting work samples for each core subject. This might be one page of work per subject per learning period. Charter schools may also require standardized testing, although in some cases families could opt out of this in the past. However, requirements are becoming stricter as districts push back against charter schools taking district funds. Another option I discuss is filing a private school affidavit PSA. This essentially means you're setting up your own private school with you as the teacher and principal. This option provides more freedom and less oversight than working with a charter school. If you choose the PSA route, you can either manage everything yourself or join an umbrella school. An umbrella school is a private homeschool organization that handles administrative tasks for you. For instance, I mentioned that my umbrella school manages attendance records, transcripts, and report cards for a modest monthly fee. The benefit of an umbrella school is that it provides structure and support without the oversight of a school district. They often offer additional services like counseling for high school students, SAT-ACT prep, and even enrichment programs or drop-off classes. A third option I mention is forming or joining a homeschool co-op. In a co-op, a group of homeschooling families come together to create a school-like setting. Parents contribute their expertise in different subjects, creating a diverse and engaging learning environment. Regardless of your chosen option, it's crucial to understand and follow your state's homeschooling laws. Failure to do so could potentially lead to truancy charges. Truancy is when a child is absent from school without a valid reason and can have serious legal consequences. I can't emphasize enough the importance of knowing the rules to avoid scary situations. I mention instances where school districts, not fully understanding homeschooling laws, sent intimidating letters to parents threatening legal action. In such cases, organizations like the Homeschool Legal Defense Association, HSLDA, can provide crucial support and clarification of legal rights. The HSLDA is a nonprofit advocacy organization that defends the rights of homeschooling families. They offer legal representation and resources to help families navigate the sometimes complex world of homeschool regulations. When it comes to attendance, homeschooling offers more flexibility than traditional schools. Homeschooling typically has no sick days because learning can happen anytime and anywhere. This flexibility allows families to incorporate educational activities into travel, family events, or even during times of illness. However, keeping records of your child's educational activities and progress is still important. This not only helps you track their learning, but also provides documentation if ever required by authorities. In terms of curriculum and educational approach, homeschooling laws generally allow for significant freedom. You can choose or create a curriculum that best fits your child's needs and your family's values. This could include traditional textbooks, online courses, hands-on projects, or a combination of methods. Record keeping and documenting student progress. Proper record keeping and documentation of your child's educational progress is crucial to homeschooling. Not only does it help you track your child's growth and development, but it also ensures you're prepared if you ever need to demonstrate your child's educational activities to authorities or if you decide to transition back to traditional schooling. In the podcast, I emphasize the importance of maintaining accurate records. I mentioned that when homeschooling through a charter school, you must typically provide work samples for each core subject. This usually involves submitting 1 page of work per subject for each learning period. But even if you're not required to submit regular samples, keeping a portfolio of your child's work is a good practice. This can include 1. Completed worksheets. 2. Writing samples. 3. Art projects. 4. Photos of science experiments. 5. Book reports. 6. Math problem sets. These samples provide tangible evidence of your child's learning and progress over time. They can be especially useful if you ever need to demonstrate your homeschooling efforts to educational authorities or if you're applying to colleges that require detailed homeschool transcripts. In addition to work samples, it's important to keep a log of educational activities. This can include 1. Daily schedules. 2. Field trips. 3. Educational videos watched. 4. Online courses completed. 5. Books read. 6. Community service activities. 7. Enrichment classes like music or art. Remember, learning in a homeschool environment isn't limited to traditional school hours. As I point out, homeschooling allows for flexibility, and learning can happen anytime and anywhere. So don't forget to document those spontaneous learning moments, like a nature walk that turns into a botany lesson, or a cooking session that incorporates math and chemistry. For high school students, maintaining detailed records becomes even more critical. You'll need to create transcripts that colleges and future employers can understand. This typically includes 1. Course names. 2. Course descriptions. 3. Grades or evaluations. 4. Credits earned. 5. GPA calculation. Some umbrella schools can handle transcripts for you, which can be a significant help, especially if you're uncomfortable creating these documents yourself. When it comes to grading and evaluation, homeschooling allows for more flexibility than traditional schools. While some families choose to use traditional letter grades, others prefer narrative evaluations that provide a more detailed picture of a child's progress and understanding. Standardized testing is another aspect of record keeping to consider. While not all states require homeschoolers to participate in standardized tests, some do. Even if it's not required, you might choose to have your child take standardized tests periodically as a way to gauge their progress compared to their peers and identify any areas that need more focus. Note that requirements around testing can vary. In some cases, families could opt out of testing in the past, but requirements are becoming stricter in some areas. It's important to stay informed about the regulations in your state. One unique aspect of homeschooling is the ability to create individualized education plans for each child. Unlike in traditional schools, where each individualized education programs are typically only for students with diagnosed learning differences, in homeschooling, every child can have a personalized learning plan. These plans can include 1. Learning goals for the year. 2. Strategies for achieving these goals. 3. Accommodations or modifications for any learning differences. 4. Plans for addressing areas of struggle. 5. Ways to nurture areas of strength and interest. Documenting these plans and your child's progress towards them can be an important part. I also discussed the importance of documenting socialization and extracurricular activities in the podcast. Contrary to common misconceptions, homeschooled children often have rich social lives and participate in many activities outside the home. Keeping records of these experiences can help demonstrate the well-rounded nature of your child's education. This might include 1. Sports team participation. 2. Music or dance recitals. 3. Theater performances. 4. 4-H or scouting activities. 5. Volunteer work. 6. Participation in homeschool co-ops or enrichment classes. For families using a more unstructured approach like unschooling, record keeping might look a bit different. Instead of traditional assignments and tests, you might document 1. Projects the child has initiated. 2. Books they've chosen to read. 3. Skills they've taught themselves. 4. Real-world problem-solving experiences. 5. Entrepreneurial endeavors. The key is to show that learning is happening, even if it doesn't look like traditional schooling. One of the benefits of homeschooling is the ability to tailor education. Remember, the goal of record keeping isn't just to satisfy legal requirements. It's also a way to celebrate your child's growth and achievements. Looking back over a year's worth of work can be incredibly rewarding for both you and your child, providing tangible evidence of how far they've come. Lastly, I advise staying organized from the beginning. Set up a system that works for you, whether that's physical binders of work samples, digital portfolios, or a combination of both. Consistent, ongoing documentation is much easier than trying to piece together curricula, books, and online resources for lessons. One of the most exciting aspects of homeschooling is the freedom to choose or create a curriculum that best fits your child's needs, interests, and learning style. In this section, we'll explore various resources mentioned in the podcast that can help you build a rich, personalizing, and individualizing your child's education is crucial. This means you're not limited to a one-size-fits-all approach. Instead, you can mix and match resources to create a unique learning experience. Let's start with traditional curricula. While homeschooling allows for flexibility, many families find having a structured curriculum as a foundation helpful. Numerous options are available, ranging from complete boxed curricula covering all subjects to individual subjects. Some popular choices include 1. Saxon Math. 2. Singapore Math. 3. Teaching Textbooks. 4. Abeka. 5. Bob Jones University Press. 6. The Good and the Beautiful. These curricula often include teacher guides, student workbooks, and sometimes even online components. They can provide a sense of structure and ensure that students cover all necessary topics. However, one of the benefits of homeschooling is the ability to go beyond traditional textbooks. I mentioned several alternative approaches that can make learning more engaging and hands-on. One resource I specifically recommend is Bad Wolf Press. This company produces academic-based musicals that teach various subjects through song, dance, and performance. For example, they offer a musical about idioms called Alice's Adventures with Idioms. This creative approach can make language arts concepts more memorable and fun. It's also very important to incorporate life skills into your homeschool curriculum. These might include practical skills like cooking, budgeting, and basic home repairs, as well as soft skills like communication, problem solving, and time management. While these aren't typically part of a traditional curriculum, they're valuable additions to a well-rounded education. For families interested in a more unstructured approach, unschooling is an option. Unschooling doesn't rely on a formal curriculum, but instead follows the child's interests and uses everyday life experiences as learning opportunities. Resources for unschooling might include 1. Library books on topics of interest. 2. Educational documentaries. 3. Hands-on projects and experiments. 4. Real-world experiences like grocery shopping or gardening. 5. Educational games and apps. Remember, unschooling doesn't mean no learning is happening. It's about facilitating your child's natural curiosity and desire to learn. For families who want to incorporate more travel and real-world experiences into their homeschooling, world schooling is another approach. This involves learning through travel experiences. Resources for world schooling might include 1. Travel guides. 2. Language learning apps. 3. Cultural immersion programs. 4. Historic sites and museums. 5. Nature preserves and national parks. Online resources play a significant role in modern homeschooling. I mentioned Outschool.com as a valuable resource. Outschool offers a wide variety of online classes taught by experienced teachers. These classes can supplement your core curriculum or provide instruction in areas where you might not feel confident teaching. Other online resources that can be valuable for homeschoolers include 1. Khan Academy free video lessons in math, science, and more. 2. Duolingo for language learning. 3. Coursera for older students interested in college-level material. 4. YouTube channels like Crash Course or SciShow. 5. Financial Freedom, a program that teaches financial literacy to children. For families looking to teach history in an engaging way, I mention using historically accurate theater productions. This approach brings historical events to life and can make them more memorable for students. Resources for this might include historical fiction books, documentaries, or even visits to living history museums. In the podcast, I also discuss the importance of enrichment activities. These might include 1. Music lessons. 2. Art classes. 3. Sports teams. 4. Dance classes. 5. Martial arts. While these aren't typically considered part of a curriculum, they're valuable additions to a well-rounded education and can often be counted as part of your homeschool hours. For families homeschooling children with learning differences, I emphasize the importance of finding resources that cater to different learning styles. This might include 1. Audiobooks for students with dyslexia. 2. Hands-on manipulatives for kinesthetic learners. 3. Visual aids for visual learners. 4. Speech-to-text software for students with dysgraphia. Remember, one of the benefits of homeschooling is the ability to tailor resources to your child's specific needs. In addition, joining homeschool co-ops or enrichment centers is also valuable. These can provide access to group classes, specialized instruction, and socialization opportunities. They can be especially valuable for subjects you might not feel comfortable teaching yourself, like advanced sciences or foreign languages. Lastly, don't forget about your local community as a resource. Libraries often have programs for homeschoolers. Museums might offer educational programs. Local experts might be willing to give lessons or talks on their areas of expertise. This is the end of Module 2. Let's proceed to Module 3.